Alright, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I am going to be going ahead and showing you how I use my Razer Stream controller to communicate with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and so how you can program all your buttons for whatever plane you want to fly or set up, and how you can program it onto the Razer Stream controller and it'll communicate with your plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So the two softwares that you will need is Loopdeck, and I'll have the links in the description below. Loopdeck is a free software. You can go ahead and download that. That's going to be for setting up your Razer Stream controller. And then you'll also need a program called SPAD.next. This is a paid program. It's only $29. Comes with a 1-year subscription for updates. But if you don't want to pay for the subscription after the 1 year, you don't have to, and you still will be able to use SPAD.next and keep it forever. It's just a one-time payment. The subscription is $9 for a year, but then you will have access to all the updates for that year if you do decide to go that route. If you don't want to, again, you don't have to. So without further ado, we will just go ahead and jump right in. We will go ahead and move this over here. So first thing you want to do is start with your Loopdeck. You want to go up here to where it says profile. For your main profile, you want to click these 3 dots right here, and you want to create a new empty, or actually a new default profile. This is going to be your main profile. You'll click that, then you'll go ahead and type in a name for it. You can type in whatever you want, MSFS2024 profile, your name, profile, whatever you want, you can do that, and this will be your main profile. After you create your main profile, next you want to go down here to where it says profiles home. You want to click on or application profiles right here. So it's going to be for your application. You want to click on this, click on manage application profiles, and you want to select your new profile that you created and then hit OK. Once you do that, then you go down here to profiles home and you want to add a new profile. So you want to click add a new empty profile. You'll click that. So right now we'll add a new profile. We'll call this test kit fox because we are going to program the kit fox plane. So we will go ahead and do that. We'll call it test kit fox. So as you see now on our Razer Stream controller, it popped up with this little 1/2 or 3/4 circle, same as our Loopdeck right there. So now we know our test kit fox, and at the top for the profile it says test kit fox. So now you know that profile is set up. After you get that profile set up, you want to go up here to show and hide plugins. You want to click that. Down here you'll see where it says Midi. It'll be grayed out. You want to go ahead and click this little eyeball to show the plugin. So click that, and now it lights up. You want to show that. OBS Studio, you don't need that because you're not, unless you plan on programming OBS Studio, you don't need that. So go ahead and hide it. Twitch, also, if you plan on programming it, keep it. If you don't, go ahead and hide that. Microsoft Flight Simulator. This was like a preset thing I downloaded from Marketplace. You don't need it. You don't need to download it, so don't worry about it. I downloaded it. I never use it, so it's just always there. But the main thing that you need is right here where it says Midi. You need to make sure you show that. So make sure it's shown. Once it's done, you can hit this X to hide plugins. And right here, you'll see this little Midi icon. Click that. That's our main way of setting up keys to our Razer Stream controller. So this is what we'll be working with all the time. Right here, you see where it says 1 plus and then the 3 dots. These are your pages for these buttons right here, for these 12 buttons. You can have 22 of these pages. If you want to add a page, you just click that plus button, add a page. Keep clicking the plus button. You can add 22 of those. This one on the right side is for your dials. So you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll get 6 on each page. You can have 9 pages of dials. The dials themselves, they come with rotary action, so you can twist them clockwise, counterclockwise, and you can also press them in as a button press. We'll get down the road in video like 2 or 3. I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Again, this is going to be like a 3-part series. This is just going to be showing you how to create basic buttons. So later in the future videos, we'll go a little more in depth on showing you how to create like altitude adjustment knob, nav, com, radio knobs, stuff like that. But for now, this is just going to be basic buttons. So once you have that set up, you created your profile, you created your main profile, you created your application profile, which ours is Test Kit Fox, but you would name it whatever you want, like Cessna 152, Cessna 172, whatever you want. Then you want to go ahead and show your plugin. You want to make sure you show the Midi plugin. And that's about it for right now. That's all we've done up until this point. So you should have this little Midi right here. Click on that and it should say Midi action, Midi dial adjustment, and stored Midi actions right there. This is what you should see on your page. This right here, if we want to remove this, we just click on the 3 dots in this box and we just click unassign. It'll remove it from our loop deck, and you see it removed it from our Razer Stream controller right there. So now our Razer Stream controller is blank, and this shows you exactly what you see right here. Once we do that, now we go to SPAD.next. Once you've installed SPAD.next, you got it all set up and everything, you open it up, you'll see this right here, just profile. It'll just say profile by itself. The first time you open it, it'll just be profile by itself, and that's what you will see. Next, you want to click on panels. Make sure you see Razer Stream Controller right here under your panels. This one right here, make sure you see Razer Stream Controller. You won't have all these buttons. You might have a few buttons, like 12, but you won't have all these. The more pages you create and the more buttons you press, the more of these buttons will start popping up. Once you have them popped up though, they won't disappear. They'll always be here. If you create all 22 pages and you click on all the buttons on all 22 pages, all of the buttons will show up and they'll be here forever. Same with the dials, the rotary knobs. So right here we have 6. That's for my first page I created on another plane. Then we go to 12. That's for the second page. Then, you know, it keeps going, etc., etc. But they stay there permanently, so you'll always have access to them. So after we check that, we make sure Razer Stream Controller shows up. We go back to this profiles page. Again, you'll only have profile shown up, just one profile. Everything else will be blank. What we want to do is create an empty profile. So we'll go right here, create empty profile. Again, name this whatever you want for your plane. I'm going to call this Test Kit Fox. But you would name it whatever you want. Cessna 152, Cessna 172 G1000, Cessna 172 steam gauges, Phoenix A320, FBW 320, whatever you want to name it, whatever your plane is. This will be the profile for that plane. So we'll hit OK. So now our Test Kit Fox should be active. We know it's activated because this little plane's right here. If you wanted to switch planes, you can just click on it and click Activate Profile. It'll switch your profiles. But right now we want this one profile. This profile active, and then we want to go to edit profile and change aircraft. You're going to find the aircraft that you want and you're going to add it to this profile. So we want this Freedom Fox right here, so we're going to add this to our profile. We're going to click on it, and then we're going to click this little arrow to throw it in there. So now it says Freedom Fox on the right side, and then click save. And then now right here we're going to click save again. Now we can see for aircraft, Freedom Fox is assigned to this profile. So anytime Microsoft opens up with this plane, it's automatically going to select this profile from your SPAD.next, and it'll use all the buttons you assign. So you don't have to switch through all the profiles. It'll automatically do it based on the plane you selected. If we go to Phoenix A320, I added all the liveries and different planes that I use for the A320 Phoenix. And so anytime I open any one of the liveries, it'll automatically open this profile. Same with the Cessna 172 G1000. I made sure I selected Cessna Skyhawk G1000 Asobo. And so now if I select the steam version, the steam gauge version, the 6-pack, it's not going to open this profile. It's only going to open this profile when the G1000 is selected. Same with the Cessna 152. It's not going to open the default Cessna 152. This is only going to open the Cessna 152 WSIM version of the 152. That's a plane I like to fly. I don't like to fly the standard Asobo one. I always play the JP Logistics WSIM 152 Cessna. So once we have that profile set up, we should be good to go here. That's the basic, that's the beginning part. Now we're going to go back to Loop Deck right here, and we're going to create our first button. So what we're going to do when we're in this MIDI action tab, we're going to click our MIDI page. We're going to click MIDI action. Once we click MIDI action, we'll see this pop up down here. It says MIDI action, and it says name new MIDI action. We're going to call this master, because on the Kit Fox, the first button, that we want to set up is the master battery button. So we're going to call this master. You can call it whatever you want. Master battery, battery on, battery, master, whatever. You know, it's up to you. So right here where it says C0, remember these are all MIDI notes. So these are like notes on a keyboard. So we always start from the top one. That's what I do. And then work my way down. You can go all the way down this list. These are all the keys that can be programmed. So I always start from here. So then the next button I create will be C# -2. Then I'll create D -2, etc., etc. So right now we're going to start with C -2. That's going to be the first MIDI note for our first button. Note play, you just want to leave it on this. If you click it, you'll see all this stuff. Don't worry about this stuff right now. We're just going to select note play. Velocity, I always set it to 50. Duration, I always set it to 100. Don't ask me what they do. That's what I do. It works perfectly. I don't change it. Channel 1, always leave it on channel 1. If we want to change this thumbnail, we're going to go ahead and click on this button. We're going to click on this and hide it. Then we're going to go up here and we're going to find our thumbnail we want to use. So the image I'm going to use is going to be master battery and just nothing lit. So right there it says master battery. We can go see this master down here. This is this text right here. We're going to go ahead and hide that. We're going to click this little eyeball, take that off. So once this is set up the way we like, we hit save. And then this changed back to C0. Make sure you're always paying attention to this. Sometimes it changes back. So we want it to be C -2. All right. So now we go ahead and hit save. So now it's saved. So we see right there, stored MIDI action. It saved our master right there. You see that? So what we're going to do now is just drag this over into our loop deck or our Razer Stream controller. We're going to drop it in. So now we see it's dropped in there and now it popped up right there on our Razer Stream Deck controller. So this button now is created. The way we find out what this button's assigned to on SPAD.next, if we click here, so see all these buttons, how do we know which button it is? So one way to do it is click on this little box right next to this save profile, and then you can click that. So now when we click on master battery, it popped up with this red line that shows which button we just pressed. So 0.0, that's this button right here. If we created 6 more buttons, we would click on it and it'd probably show a red line to another button right here. That's how you find out which button this is assigned to. So now how do we program this button to turn on our master battery button, and how do we assign it in SPAD.next? So what we're going to do is we're going to open Microsoft Flight Sim. So this is the kit box, so we're going to go ahead and jump right in. All right, to find out how you do the button press, you click on this little plus button right there. Then we go to add data right there. We're going to type in master because that's what we're looking for. So once you do that, we see we have 59 items. What I do, if it's small like this, I just click on the top, go all the way down to the bottom, hold shift, click that, and then click OK. Now all our buttons popped up there. We can go ahead and clear that bottom with the trash can. Now we're just going to click on master right here. We're going to flip it on, flip it off, flip it on. So we can see electrical master battery 1. Our electrical master battery went from 1 to 0. Electrical master battery 1 went from 1 to 0. So we know one of those two can work with this button press. So we're going to go ahead and look for electrical master battery. That's what we're going to try to find. So we go back here. We know 0 was our key for this button. So we're going to hit add event. We're going to hit button press. Now we're going to hit add action. Once we hit add action, we're going to do change data value. And from here, we can just type in master again. And now we're going to look for electrical master battery. Right there, SimConnect electrical master battery. Go ahead and click OK. For operation, we're going to make this a toggle switch. So we're going to select toggle bit because we want it to go on, off, on, off. Static value, we're going to set it at 0 because we want it to always start in the off position. Limits, we're going to turn that on because we want to set a limit of minimum 0, maximum 1. Because we want it to go from off to on, back to off, back to on. Rollover, always select that because it'll reset it. And then end processing, we're going to select yes because we want, once it looks for this, it doesn't search any of our other buttons to try to find this. So we're going to hit OK. Once we hit OK, we see button press popped up and it says toggle bit 0, SimConnect electrical master battery button. So now if we look on this right screen right here where Microsoft Flight Sim is, if If we look at this master battery button right there, and we press this master battery, we'll see it toggle on and off. Oh, so let's move this over here. So right there, we're gonna look, master turned off, turned on, turned off, turned on. So now that button's working. Before we continue, I forgot to mention this little disc right here, make sure you always click this disc after you do any of your buttons or do like a handful of buttons. Click this disc just in case it crashes, or if you forget to save it and you leave. This is how you save it. If you set up all your buttons and don't hit this little disc right here, this little disc icon where it says save profile, if you don't hit that and you set up all your buttons and then you just X out, it will not save everything. You'll lose everything and have to restart over. So again, I want to remind you, always hit the save profile. Even if you do it after every button you create, that's fine. But just always remember, you have to hit the save profile button right here in order to save all the buttons you created before you close out of SPAD.next. Again, if you don't hit that button and you create all your buttons and then you close out of SPAD.next, it will not save what you made. You have to hit the save profile button. Now we can go ahead and set up another button. We'll try to do we'll do the fuel right here. So what we'll do again is we'll go back into loop deck. We will go ahead and click MIDI action. We will type fuel. So we know the first button that we created was C-2. This one we'll select as C#-2. Again, leave it on note play, velocity 50, duration 100, channel is always going to be 1. This one we won't select any sort of thumbnail, we'll just leave it with the stock one that it comes with. Then fuel got created right here in stored MIDI actions. We'll go ahead and drag this over to task or spot number 2, and we see on our Stream Deck Reserve, fuel popped up there and it's right there. So now we just go ahead and do the same process again. We're going to click this little button right here on the bottom left, and we are going to click fuel. And now we can see 0.1 is our fuel button. That's the key that it's assigned to. So again, how do we find out fuel? We go to this plus button where the extra is. We're going to clear all these from the task. We're going to go to add data. We're going to type in fuel. And we see there's 1,331 items. How are we going to narrow it down? We're going to click Sim Connect right here. Took away 200 items. So there's 1,107. So what we're going to do is look for something that says fuel over here and has a Boolean on the unit. That's what we want, is a Boolean. We want it on off. So we're going to scroll up. General engine fuel valve. That seems like it could be, because it wouldn't be general engine fuel pump switch. It would be a valve, so that's what we want. So let's look and see. We'll do 1 through whatever it has. What does it have? 16. We'll select 1 through 16, see which one it is. So we'll hit OK. And then when we go here, now we click on this fuel valve on Microsoft Flight Sim. We can see it popped up right there. So we'll click it again, off. Popped up again, same one. General engine fuel valve 1 went from 0 to 1. General engine fuel valve 1 went from 1 to 0. Click it again and went from 0 to 1. So now we know this fuel lever right here is connected to general engine fuel valve 1. So when we go back up to our panels, on this one we're going to go add event. We're going to select button pressed, add an action, change data value. We're going to type in fuel. And we know it was general engine fuel valve 1. So we're going to search for general engine fuel valve 1. General engine pressure pump. Oh, I just saw valve. General engine fuel valve 1 right there. So we're going to select that. We're going to hit OK. Again, this is going to be a toggle switch. So we're going to select toggle bit. Static value 0, because we always wanted to start with the off position. Limits, we're going to turn that on. Minimum 0, maximum 1, because that's the on position. And always select rollover. So once we do that, we hit OK. And processing, always select yes, because we wanted to stop searching for general fuel valve once we found this first one. There won't be any other ones, but we just don't want it to process through. Once you do that, you're going to hit OK. And now we got that set up right there. So now when we go back to Microsoft Flight Sim and we look at that fuel valve and we press this fuel button, it should toggle back and forth. So as you see on the right side right there, it's toggling back and forth every time I press it. And that's how you set up those two buttons. So now let's say we want to do a strobe light. Again, same exact thing. We're going to go to Midi, Midi action. We're going to go to new Midi. We'll type in strobe as the name of this. We're going to select the key. So we did C -2, C sharp -2. Now we're going to do D -2. No play, leave that on. Velocity 50, duration 100, channel 1, and we will leave this as strobe, the same thing, the same thumbnail. We'll just leave that. Channel 1, we'll save that. So now we have strobe popped up in our stored MIDI actions right here. See that? Now we're going to drag strobe over. So now strobe's in our loop deck. Strobe popped up right there. So now we're set with that. So now we just go back to SPAD.next. We click on strobe. We find out 0.2. That's our button for strobe. Perfect. Now we know where we got to program it. Now we go to this plus button right here on the left, and we are going to look for strobe. So we're going to go add data. We're going to type in strobe right here. And we don't have too many, only 10. So that's perfect. We'll go ahead and click the top, click the bottom, click OK. So now all of them got added. To clear this bottom section right here, just go ahead and hit the delete, the trash can right there at the bottom. It'll clear that out for us. So now we can just start fresh. So now we're going to go over here and we're going to click strobe on the right side in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And we see all of these popped on. So light strobe went from 0 to 1, LVAR lighting strobe went from 0 to 1, B lighting strobe went from 0. So now we know any of these buttons will work. So if we click it off again, now we can scroll down. Yep, light strobe went from 1 to 0. So we'll probably use light strobe. That's what we're going to use, light strobe. So we'll go to panels. We have our button already selected right there. Make sure you always have it selected in this red arrow coming down here so you know you're ready to create a button for it. We'll go to add event, button pressed, add action, change data value, and we're going to type in strobe, and it was light strobe. That's the one that we want right there. Sim Connect light strobe. It's a Boolean on off switch. So we're going to go ahead and select that, hit OK. Operation, we're going to do toggle bit, static value 0. Obviously, we always want it in the off position. Limits, turn it on. Maximum limit is 1, minimum limit 0. Rollover set to on, and then go ahead and hit OK. Once that is set, don't forget to select end processing yes, and hit OK again. Now you have that set up. Now if we go over here and we look at our strobe and we press this strobe button right here, it turns our strobe on, turns our strobe off. Strobe on, strobe off. And that's pretty much it. That's how you go ahead and set up some of your buttons to Microsoft Flight Simulator using the Razer Stream Controller and SPAD.next. And of course, you can go through and you can program all the buttons. It takes a little time, but it'll always be there. But you can always do your lane A, lane B, master, avionics, start button. You can do strobe light, landing light, wig-wag, nav lights, whatever this light is right here. Fuel pump A, fuel pump B, approach, autopilot, flight director, all these buttons. Even these switches right here can all be set up. Even your Garmin, everything on your Garmin could be set up. You can actually run this whole Garmin system since it's pretty easy. It's just got 2 knobs right there, inner and outer, inner and outer. It's got nearest, direct to, menu, and back. So you should be able to select everything on this GPS and create it all on here. Again, I will go through in my either the next video or the following video, I'll go ahead and show up how to create these to inner and outer knobs and set up your GPS. The next video will probably be how to set up toggle buttons for your stream controller so you can have the light off, light on when it correlates to being off and on in the buttons. I hope this helped you. If it did, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, All the links to these products will be in the description below, and I really hope this helped. Again, if you have any questions, comments, leave them below. And until next time, fly safe.